everyone. Sorry for the delay. And today I'm very excited that we have Lakshit Jan with us. He is a Power Platform specialist. And today we will be talking about Power Apps. So, guys, be very attentive in this session because at the end of the session, we will be having a form in which you have to answer some of the questions which will be related to the session. And according to that answers that you are giving and filling the form, we will be allowing you for vouchers and swags. So, welcome, Lakshit. Over to you now.
Thanks, Neha. So let me just quickly share my screen up now. Can Neha, can you please confirm if my screen is up?
Yes, sir, it's visible. Yes, I
Yes,
see.
your screen is, yeah, your screen is visible.
Okay. So good evening to everyone. My name is Lakshit and I am a Power Platform specialist. So I've been working in this field from the past 2 years and my total experience is 4 years now. So before beginning into Power Apps, let's study what's the agenda is and we have been doing. So this is actually a 3 day series where we dealt about Power BI in the beginning, where we learned how to create very beautiful dashboards from the scratch, how we can basically clean and trim our data, and then we can create relationships amongst table. And after we done that, we were able to create very beautiful graphs, and then in the end we saw how we can share those with other folks in our team. So that was our first session which we did the previous month. Today we'll be dealing about the second part of the session, which is called as Power Apps. So all these Power Apps, Power BI, and Power Automate are actually a part of technology called as Power Platform, and Power Platform is basically a low code or a no code solution that is present on our cloud that allows us to build anything like application or a dashboard or an automation flow very quickly, very easily, with very less manual effort as compared to other technologies. So let's quickly jump on to Power Apps. So what is basically Power Apps? So Power Apps is basically a low code or no code environment where you can develop your applications very quickly, very easily, and also the learning curve while learning Power Apps is very less as compared to other traditional languages such as Python or .NET, Angular. All other technologies takes a lot of time as compared to Power Apps to become an expert. And also to develop this application, you require very less developers as compared to other technologies, like only one or two developers can work on Power Apps and create very beautiful applications very fast. And also the advantage over it is like it is on cloud, so you don't need to download any other software for developing Power Apps. So and if I'm going to talk about the use cases, so you can basically develop any sort of an app. So if you want to develop a video app, you can integrate it with any your SharePoint site or your OneDrive site, and you can create a very beautiful video apps. Or suppose you can also create form based apps. So suppose what do you want is instead of using a Microsoft or a Google form, you can imply Power Apps to create validations, and you can actually connect it to any other data source. Like you can also send any request or email on Outlook, or you can also connect it to Teams. And apart from that, you can create any traditional apps such as the hospital management system, leave application, or help desk app. So all these apps can be developed using Power Apps very quickly and very easily. And before beginning, I would request all of you folks to make this session as interactive as possible because it's going to be really beneficial for you guys. So before beginning to Power Apps, let me tell you what we did in the previous session when we were studying actually about the Power BI. So when we actually were dealing out the Power BI, we were actually able to develop this sort of a dashboard. So even if you guys have any questions related to Power BI, you can just feel free to reach out to me over here, or you can just search me on LinkedIn, and then over there we can also connect. So if you need to open your PowerApps.com, first of all you need to have your Microsoft account. Once you have your Microsoft account, you can just log into make.powerapps.com, and this is the UI you are going to see. So let us see what sort of an apps we can develop. So like to develop the apps, you need to go towards create, and over here you can see this screen. So on the down, you can see all the templates are available, such as Power Apps training, the help decks, the onboarding tasks. All these are by default templates. So if you're going to use them, you can create very beautiful apps very quickly. So basically, there are three types of Power Apps app. Like first one is Canvas app, the second one is Dataverse, the third one is the blank website. So the Canvas app basically allows us to create very beautiful, intuitive, not dashboards, applications, and you can basically connect to any data source. The second one is the Dataverse app or the model driven app. Through model driven app, we can actually connect to a Dataverse, which is a specific data source only, and it is basically used when our preference is not the UI, our preference is just the data. And the third one comes the portal app. So portal app is basically an app that is used to develop beautiful websites. So using Canvas app, you can develop a UI, but that UI is basically similar to an Android app. So if you need to create an app that is having a look and feel like an Android one, you should create Canvas app, and also it can connect to any data source. But this portal app will create any website sort of an app which will embed any JavaScript and HTML code inside it, and it can only connect to a data source called as Dataverse. So most commonly app is Canvas app, and today we are going to learn about Canvas app in detail. So let me give you a brief walkthrough of how this window looks like. So like you can see Dataverse. So data talking about Dataverse, so it's a specific data source inside Power Apps. Like it is a similar data source as we have SQL, we have Oracle. So this is a specific data source that is present on cloud itself. If you come to down, you can see the flow. So all your flows, like automation flows, will be visible over here, and we'll be dealing about Microsoft flows in the third session, which is going to be tomorrow at 6:30. And then at the down, you can see the chatbots. So chatbots, maybe we can have a little overview of this one on tomorrow's session. So using chatbots, you can create very beautiful chatbots that are very interactive, as you see any on custom website nowadays. And this can be leveraged anywhere. Like you can leverage it on your Power BI dashboard. You can leverage these chatbots on your Power App screen, and also you can leverage these chatbots in your Teams channel as well. Apart from that, if you need to perform any machine learning or AI capabilities, for that we have AI Builder in picture. Now let's see what sort of app we are going to create today. So for sample today, what we are going to do is we are going to create this app. So you can see this is basically a data source, an Excel data source, which I have loaded over here, and you want to basically perform any search sort of an operation. So you can do it using a search box, or if you want to perform any filtering on the basis of a drop down, you can basically do it very easily using this drop down. And if you basically need to insert any value inside this data source, what you can do is you can just click on the plus icon. For that, you will be able to insert a new data source, and if you need to edit any particular entity or an element inside this data source specifically, for that you are going to use this edit button. And if I'm going to edit this, it will be reflected not only on my Power App, but it is actually going to edit my the backend data source. So today we are going to learn how to create a CRUD source application from scratch. So I hope you guys are pretty much excited about this as I am. So if you guys have any doubts in between, please feel free to ask, or else we can also take the doubts at the end of the session as well. Okay, so if you need to create any blank data source app, so you just need to click on this plus icon. So over here right now we are going to connect to Canvas app. So I'm just going to click over here and click on create. So let me give any demo app name, like demo Azure Power Apps. I'm going to click on create. So basically I'm going to select the format as tablet mode because I'm going to use it on my screen, like the monitor screen. If you need to create a mobile based apps, so then you need to click on phone. So like before beginning, let me make you comfortable to the UI of Power Apps. So this is how the first screen of Power Apps looks like. So on the left hand side of the screen, You can see all these elements. So all the elements which are going to add insert your screen. So suppose I'm going to insert a button. So all those will be visible on the left hand side under screens, and on the plus icon you are going to see all the elements which you can basically drag onto your Power Apps UI. So you can see text label, you can see edit form, you can see text input, you can see rectangle, you can see date picker, or any sort of an input which you like, you can see on the left hand side. In the data section, you can basically connect it to any data source. So suppose I want to connect to my OneDrive, or I want to connect to my SharePoint. So from here, I can particularly search any data source and I can connect to that very easily. Now in the media section, suppose I want to load any media that might be a image, video, or audio file. So I can just click on upload and I can load any data source which is a media file from my local system. On the top, I can see all the settings. So just let me click on the file option. So uh, if I need to save my this Power App on the cloud, so I will go to file and then I can just click on save. So this will basically save my Power App. So whenever you're creating a Power App, first thing you have to do is you have to save your app, because the app is going to get created on your cloud. And if you are not going to save it, all your changes are going to get lost. So first thing you have to do is always after creating the Power App, just go to File and click on Save. Now, if I need to share my app with the end user, I can just click on Share, and the sharing will be of two types. So the sharing can be of edit type, or it's going to be of view type. So if like I want to share it with a person called as Rahul, so over here I can see either I can share that app in edit mode, so that the other end user also becomes the owner of that app, so that he or she can also edit. So for that I'm going to assign the co-owner right. Or if I just want the end user just to access that app in view mode, for that I'm just going to unselect this option and I'm going to click on share. Okay, and if I need to perform some specific settings, like I need to perform give any icon to it, so I can do it from here. And over here I can see that by default my Power Apps get saved in 2 minutes, so I don't need to save my app automatically. So only first time when I'm going to load my Power App, for the first time I need to save, and after that all the changes are done automatically. So if I don't need to save my app automatically, I just need to disable this button. And if I want to basically see my Power App in, like suppose the phone view, so I'm going to select portrait, or else I'm going to select landscape. So these were actually the default settings. Now let's see what do we have on the top. So on the top you can see you can drag basically all the elements or the controls from the top. So one is label, one is button, or the other controls which you want to drag are like list boxes, date picker, combo box, drop down. All these controls you can see from the top. Now, if you're going to see more, then we can see there are other controls as well, like gallery or data table. So this is something that we're going to learn about today in detail. Like if you need to host any particular data that is hosted in a tabular format, so for that we use gallery, that is basically used to present any data structure present in the form of a rows and columns. And the similar thing is done by data table as well, but with the only difference that gallery is customizable but data table is not. Also we get the feature like if you want to set any forms inside your Power App, you can do it with the forms as well. So this is something we're going to do in detail. Also suppose you want to load any media or like image or a video file and audio file, you can basically go over here in the media section and you can do that. Now suppose you want to show some by default charts like column, pie, or line chart, you can go to the charts. Or suppose you want to connect your Power BI, so which is present over here as well, so you can just go to the Power BI tile and you can do it from here. So basically this is the beauty of Power Platform, that not only you can access all the elements such as Power Apps, Power BI, Power Automate individually, but also it supports cross platform integration as well. Like I can integrate Power Apps within Power Automate, or Power BI within Power Apps, or Power Apps within Power BI. So all these cross platform technologies are possible inside Power Platform. And over here on the right hand side you can see the icons. So if you need to basically show any icon, you can just go over here and load it. Now comes the custom components. So custom components are basically required when you want to load any connector that is not present over here, or any control that is not by default present inside Power App. So you can just go to any Google site, like you want to add any pop-up function or any date picker that you don't like inside Power Apps. For that, you can use custom functions. So this sums up our top section. There are other things as well, like if I want to go to action settings, I want to create to my connect to my flows, I can do it through Power Automate as well. So all these were considering the top portion. And now let us see what do we have on the right hand side. So on the right hand side, you can see all the properties. So these are all the cosmetic properties. If you want to basically change the text, you can do it from here. You can change the display mode you want to edit, or display, or you want to display this button, you can do it using display mode. If you want to do other settings, such as you want to change the position of your any control, you want to edit the size, you want to edit the padding things, you want to change the color, you want to change the border, you want to change the font size, or basically you want to implement code such as what do you want to see when the button gets disabled. All these things are basically cosmetic things that are available on the properties section on the right hand side if you are going to select this control. And if you want to basically embed any code inside, or you want to perform any action based thing, then you have to go to advanced settings, and from here you can edit all the advanced advanced things that you will. And on the idea section, basically I'm not going to cover it today, but basically idea section basically gives us the functionality to implement natural language processing inside Power Apps. So whenever we don't want to write any code, we can just provide any natural language over here, and our code gets written automatically. So this was the basic UI overview of this one. If there are any doubts, you can feel free to ask, like anything, any question if you guys have, or otherwise I will proceed. Okay, I guess there are no questions, so let me just proceed. So now let's start creating the Power App from scratch. So first of all, we'll design the UI. So for that, what we'll do is we'll go to the top, select home, and then from here I'm going to go to insert, and I'm going to insert the header from the top.
Lakshit, can you hear me?
Yeah, Neha, I can hear you.
Okay, we have some questions. Would you like to
Mhm.
take it right now, or we should move it to end towards the end?
I can take it. I can take it right now. Can you please reiterate those questions?
Okay, Lakshit, if you're here, please add the questions on this slide as well. First question is by Pranjal Sharma. What kind of projects have you worked on Power BI? So it is related
On
to Power.
Okay, on Power BI.
Yeah.
So if it's pertaining to Power BI, so the project basically include any, like so in my organization there was something like people folks used to visit our website, so we needed to accumulate that data and wanted to show that on the form of graph. So let's suppose a scenario that over here we divided those folks on the basis of region, that how many users used to visit our website on a daily basis, from which country they used to visit, from which team they wanted to visit our website. So all these things were shown in a graphical manner, which really gave us the insight that how the UI is, and how many folks are visiting our website, so that we can leverage those in the future. Apart from that, we actually created an internal project where we wanted to manage the capacity of all the folks, that how much burdened we are. Like suppose scenario that you guys are working in the professional firm, you don't have any idea that how many hours you are burning each day. So for that we created a basic flow, not a basic flow, a basic like graphical form of a dashboard, where we had the team members, and on the right hand side we had a basically a chart which used to show how much capacity each person is working on, how many tasks they have done. So an internal project was done on managing the capacities. So like these are basically the dashboards I have built, and in case you need more deep insight into that, I'm please feel free to reach out to me. So, Neha,
Okay.
are there any more questions apart from this one?
Yeah, there are some
Mm,
questions.
yeah,
As you
please.
say, we can take it at last as well.
Okay, I think we are good to take all these questions at the last so that we do not
Okay.
get rushed.
Okay. Sure.
Okay,
Sure. Sure. Okay. Done.
Shania, thank you. So let's create a beautiful UI of Power Apps. So I just dragged an icon from the top. Now let's give it a header. So I'm going to drop a label from the top. So in the text section from the right hand side, let me write Power Apps Demo. Let's give it a color in white. Let's increase its font size, make it 20, bring it to the center and make it bold. Now let's welcome the user who is logged in the current session. So for that, we are going to drop a label. Over here, we are going to write, we are going to go to the top. So over here, we can write something as welcome, and we are going to welcome the user who is currently logged in. So we are going to write user dot full name. So this is basically the code to give information of the currently logged in user. So let's format this one. I think we can increase its font size as well. Uh, give it a bold. Let's make it semi bold. Let's give it white color. So you can see the currently logged in user. It is showing Ayush Upadhyay as this is not my account. This is actually someone else's account. So it is showing their name. But if you are going to log into this Power App, you will be shown your name. So it's entirely dynamic. Now let's. So what we are going to do is we are going to connect to an Excel source that is present in our OneDrive. So let me show that Excel source. So this is the where that four source file is. Yeah. So this is the source file. So what we are going to do today is we are going to create an app that is going to basically insert new records inside this through the Power Apps UI, and also we can edit each and every item from this Power App from this Excel. So let's connect quickly to this Excel file. So for that we are going to navigate to a data section. For that we are going to click on add data. We are going to search for OneDrive data source. For that we are going to connect to Excel Online. Let us wait for a while, it's taking some time. So after we are done connecting to OneDrive, let's select this Power Apps training. We'll select this table, and then you're going to see two options: insert auto generated ID. So you basically need to give a lookup column, that what's going to be the lookup column when Power Apps is going to basically get that particular row inside that Excel. So for that we are going to select this option. Now we are able to successfully connect to an Excel. As we can see, the data has been loaded. So first of all, we need to show our data in a tabular format. So for doing so, we need to select the gallery option from the top. So we are going to select vertical gallery. Let's go it to the down, and from here, let's give it the data source. So for that, we're going to navigate to the right. We are going to select this data source, and then we are going to give it a specific layout. So for this time, we are going to select this layout. Now we can see that the data is loaded line by line. So if I'm going to change the wrap count from the right hand side, I can see that the data has been organized in a specific manner. Now suppose what do I want is, like, by default it's showing me specific columns like first name, growth amount, or like views. So I can also change this one. Like suppose I want to delete this one and I want first name and last name. So what I can do is I can just write a small code like first name and this item dot last name. So this is how I can do this. Similarly, if I need to insert any record, so what I can do is I can also copy a control and paste it. And suppose I want opportunity type at the end, so I can just change the code from here, and then also I can write opportunity type. So now you can see our entire data is now loaded over here. So this is actually the same data which is present in my Excel file. Now suppose I want to filter this data on the basis of a drop down. So I can just go to the top, I can give the search icon, I can give it a text input to search upon, and then over here I can write something as in the placeholder I can write search on first name. Now let's write a code that it's this gallery or this data source is going to get filtered automatically on this search box. So our search box name is text input one. So we should remember this one. And we are going to filter on the items property of a data source. So over here we are going to write filter, and then we are going to write starts with. So this is basically the default data type which we want to filter on. So basically we want to filter on our first name, and on which data source or which column we want to search. This is basically our text input one, text input one dot txt. So now let's see if this is working fine or not. So suppose I want to search on Diana. So I can just go over here, and I can see that my filtering is working perfectly fine. Now suppose I want to filter it on a drop down as well. Like right now I just searched on text input, but what if I want to search on a drop down? So I can just go to the top, I can go to drop down. Now let's give it a label as well. Like suppose it's the opportunity type. I want to filter on opportunity type. So I can just go over here and give the name as opportunity type. And now over here, I want to give all those fields that are present within opportunity type. So for that, I just need to go to items. From the right hand side, I need to select the data source. And over here, I need to give the column on which I want to create the drop down. So if I need to check this, I will go to the top and click on play. And I can see this is not showing me unique values. So for that, what I need to do is I need to select this drop down, navigate to the top, and in the items property, I just need to write that I need to select distinct values. So for that, I'm going to write distinct. And what values do I want distinctly? That is opportunity type. So I'm just going to search, and now we can check that the values are now distinct. Now let us write the code that it is going to filter on this column as well. So for that, what we are going to do is over here we are going to give it a and code. That and we also want to filter on this column as well. So either I can do and or I can do comma. So the best preferred way is to use comma. So I need to filter on the opportunity type. So for that, I'm going to select opportunity type, and I'm going to give the on which drop down I want to filter. That is drop down one. So that is drop down one. Drop down one dot selected dot result. So this is basically the syntax when we want to search on a particular drop down. So now let's see if it's working fine or not. So if I'm going to select prospect, so I can just see prospects data, and if I want to see new business data, I can do that. And similarly, the for this would also work. So both these things are working now. Now suppose I just can see only three values. Now suppose I want to see the entire data that is present inside this Excel file. So for that, I will create one more screen from blank. Let me write this screen as a home screen, and let's write this screen at this display screen. So we can also copy the elements. So let's go to other screen and paste this values. And over here, let me change the name of this label. It should be this. It should be like display display data. And if I need to show a data in a forms manner, so I can just click on display data. Over here, I can connect to my data source, which is this Excel file. And from the right hand side, I can include all the fields which I want. So right now I want to include all the fields. So I will be able to see all the fields that are present inside my data source. And I can also change the column view of this one. Suppose I just need to view two columns in a particular row. So I can also do that. Now over here, I also need to write the code that I want to search for a specific data inside my data source. So for that, what I will do is I will select this button from the top and I'm going to select the item property. And over here, I'm going to write that gallery one dot selected. So whatever value we are going to select from our home screen, that is going to be visible over here. Now let's connect this home screen and display screen. So for that, what I'm going to do is on this button, I'm going to write the code that navigate to my display screen once I click on this icon. And also what do we want is on the display screen, I want to give a back button so that I can navigate back to my home screen. So for that, I'm going to go to my icons. From here, I'm going to select this back button. Let me change its color as well. So over here, I'm just going to write a code as back that it will navigate to me back to the screen from where we came. So suppose I want to see the entire data for Lonnie Nicholson. I'm just going to click on this arrow and I can see the entire data that was present inside this Excel. And I can navigate back to the screen using that back button. Now suppose if we want to edit our data, what was the row level data we wanted to edit. So we can do that one as well. Like I can just go to the top and I can just create one more screen. So for I can just create one more screen or I can also duplicate this screen as well. So suppose you want to edit your data. So we can change this as well, like edit, edit a new user. Over here, we are going to change this form. So for that, we are going to go to insert mode and from forms, we are going to select the edit form. Previously, we did the display form, but since we now need to edit this, we are going to select the edit form. So the same thing we are going to do over here as well. We are going to load all the fields inside this one. So you can see that the maximum work is just the manual work. I have not written any code till now, and we can see how quick development over here is. Now also I want to give the values over here. So the same thing I'm going to do here as well. I'm just going to navigate to the item properties and over here I'm going to give gallery one dot selected, like everything that is selected inside my gallery on my home screen. So in my home screen, I will also give a navigation button to my edit screen as well. So for that, I'm going to go to the top and from icons, I'm going to select edit option. And on the edit icon, I just want to navigate to my edit screen. So over here, I'm going to write the code that navigate to my edit screen. So now let's see if it's working fine or not. Like I want to see edit Lonnie Nicholson's value. So I can just go over here. Let me write one more code for submitting this data. I just forgot that one. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to insert one button that is going to submit the data. Let me change its text to submit data. And then on the on select property of this button, I'm going to write the code like submit form so that it would submit entire data that is present inside this form, which is form one. And then once the form is submitted, let me navigate back to my home screen. So now since our code is prepared, let's check if it's working fine or not. So suppose we want to change the value for Lonnie Nicholson from 26.4 to 27.9. Let's click on submit data. Now we are over here, and if I'm going to check, okay, it's there is some issue while editing this one. I can see that the data has been appended, but it's not reflecting. Let me click over here again. No worries. Let me refresh the data source again. Let me go over here. I can see that my data has changed over here, but somehow it's not being able to reflect over here. So for that, what I'm going to do is, let me write a code to refresh this data source. Uh, no. Okay, no worries. We can figure it out elsewise. Now, right now we have seen how we can edit a particular value. Now let's see if we can insert a new record over here as well. So for that, we are going to go to the top. We are going to click on add. Let me click on add, and over here I'm going to change the color of this one as well. So, so we created the edit screen, and if we need to insert the record, we don't need to create separate screen. We can do the operation from here as well. So we'll just need to clear all these fields which are present over here. So for that, I'm just going to click on plus icon, and I'm going to open this form page in new mode. New form 1, and then navigate to this page, which was my edit screen. So we don't need to create one more screen. And similar thing we are going to do for the edit one as well. Like suppose when you're going to open the form, we want to view that one in edit mode. So for that, I'm just going to change some small code from here, edit form. Now let's check. So if I'm going to open the plus option, I will be able to insert a new record. And if I'm going to click on edit option, I'm going to be able to edit from here as well. So before submitting the data, let me refresh the data source as well, so that the data source get refreshed when we navigate from this page. We want to refresh the Power Apps 101 data source. So now it's fine. Oh, yeah, if you're going to change any data source, 27.8 suppose. Okay, right now it's not working also fine also, but you can see that the data got reflected back. There might be some issues due to which it was not able to see immediately, but yes, eventually it changed. Now suppose you want to insert new value, like I want to insert a new record for my name. So I want to insert for Lakshit. Growth amount will be 23. It will be Jan. Let opportunity type to be prospect. People code be 123 1322, and team leader be Harshit. Let's submit the data. Let's see if this record gets entered. Right now over here I cannot see, but if I'm going to see over in my original data source, so you can see that the data got added. So this was actually a quick demonstration of how we can basically enable our Power App to basically perform a write back operation to our initial original data source. Similarly, this was just a small demonstration of a CRUD application, but as I mentioned before the beginning of a session, if you want to create some like help desk sort of an app, or you want to create a whole hospital management system, you want to basically provide some sort of an authentication authorization, you want to develop beautiful UI, you can do this as well. Like there are many applications, you want to create an app which hosts all the videos, you can create a YouTube site sort of an app, and you can also create a form based app. So It depends upon your creativity, and whatever app you want to develop, you can do it rather easily. So like this is all what I had in Canvas app, and for the next 30 minutes I'm open to take all your questions, all your doubts, whatever you have. So let's make it as interactive as possible.
Okay. Okay, so the next question we have from Harsh. Please share your
Mhm.
experience in the industry as Power Platform Specialist. So that's Harsh's question.
Okay, so Harsh, like I have been working in Power Platform industry from the past 2 years now. So total I had 4 years, and in Power Platform I have been working in 2 years. Genuinely, I feel this is a very good platform because you can do anything. Like like you just saw that if you want to develop a dashboard, you can create a very beautiful dashboard. Like you can do this one as well. If you want to create an app, you can create an app using Power Apps, like just I did. I like within 20 or 25 minutes I created a CRUD app, which was not possible in any other language. If you go to .NET, or if you go to Angular, if you go to any app, I don't think so that is possible over here, over there. And if you are going to in tomorrow's session we are going to learn about automate. So all those things which you want to develop, you want to develop a website, you can do it on your Power Platform as well. You want to create any database, so you don't need to go to SQL, you can do it from here. So anything which you want can be done using Power Platform. And also like if you go to any specific field, you might be a front end developer. If you go to database, you might be a database. If you want to do QA, you might be a QA. But in Power Platform you can do anything just at your tips. So this is something which we can leverage in future, and it has got a very good future going forward.
Okay. So the next question is by Kashish Bhardwaj. Can we create
Mhm.
an app that works on both mobile and website? So a single app we create and it can be for mobile and for
Yeah.
Chrome as
Hmm.
well.
Yes, I got your question. So for that who's the owner? I think it was asked by Harsh.
This was by Kashish Bhardwaj.
Okay, Kashish. Okay, Kashish. So you cannot host same app in website and in your mobile as well. So if you need to create a mobile based app, you need to create a different application. And if you want to host that similar app in your website, so for that you need to create tablet based app. So for that what you can do is you can just go to file settings, and if you want to see a mobile based app, you can select portrait mode, and if you want to see it on a website, you can just select landscape mode.
Okay, great. Yep. So the next question is by Harsh. What are the
Hmm?
benefits of Power Apps as compared to the original way of creation, like using Android or HTML and CSS?
Okay. So the best, like the other advantages are, like just I mentioned, that the development time is very fast, and also the learning curve is very fast as well. Like if you're going to learn any Android based app, like if you need to learn Android, you need to learn Java, and you also need to learn OOPS concept. But there is nothing such as OOPS concept over here. You need to develop sometimes some small logic, but its learning time is very less. Like just I mentioned, you don't need to learn about oops concepts like overriding, overloading. It's free from that. Development time is very fast, and also you don't need to create any dependency on other folks. So this is the first advantage. And the second thing is, you don't need an additional license. If you are going to work in any firm, you will get Power Apps license by default, so you don't need to purchase that. So yes, these are the basic advantages.
Okay. So the next question is by Noob Gaming. Which organization does use Power App? Like any organization you know that they are using Power Apps and
So
that's the implementation.
yeah. So all the organizations right now are leveraging towards Power Platform. In Power Platform, they are leveraging all the technologies like Power Apps, Power Automate. So you name any firm, like the the question should be: is there any organization that is not leveraging right now Power Platform? I'm not talking about Power Apps right now. I'm talking about Power Platform. That all the
Okay.
components are being leveraged. If you talk about any firm like Infosys, Wipro, Accenture, Capgemini, Dell, Microsoft, all these companies right now are heavily investing inside Power Platform.
Okay. So the next question is, what are the type of apps that can be created in Power Apps?
So the types of apps just I mentioned, you want to create a form based app like what we create forms like Microsoft Forms or Google Forms. So you can create a form based app over here, and also you can put very beautiful validations like if a user is not submitting the form, you can put an error message like what we do it on any custom based app. So form based app can be created. The second thing is you want to create an app on a help desk portal or a leaf sort of an application, so you can do that as well. Now similarly you can create a video based app, like you want to create an app which hosts all the YouTube videos or all the videos which are hosted inside your OneDrive. uh, or you want to create a gaming based app, or you want to create a survey based app. So any app which you can think of, you can create it over here, so you need not to limit yourself.
Okay, that's great. So the next question is by Yash Bhardwaj. Is it possible to
Mhm.
use multiple data sources in one Canvas app?
Yes, it's possible. So you just need to go to the data section, and similarly I've created to SharePoint. Now suppose I wanted to connect to my data source in SQL, so you can just search it from here. Like you want to connect to OneDrive, I mean any data source you want to, you name it, like I want to connect to Postgre. So you can see from here, so you can connect to multiple data sources at will inside Power Apps.
Okay. So the next question is by Harsh. Can you share a project idea related to Power BI which can be placed on resume for data analyst profile?
Okay, I mean, this is something I would like Hirsch to connect with one on one. You can just forward him my number so I can suggest him, because it won't be possible. I will need to understand what he's looking forward so that I can explain him. But the best use case might be like in like if he's a fresher, then he can basically create any college based app for his students, how his students were performing in the college, and they can basically leverage that data on the form of in the graphical form. And if he's from professional side, I can help him accordingly, give him I suggest him my some of my own projects.
Okay. So the next question is by Gaurav Patil. Does Power
Mhm.
Apps have a future? So that's his
It's
question.
yeah, it is like I'm not going to talk about Power Apps, but I'm going to talk about Power Platform, and it has a really great future. Like the thing is, now now let's think not on our basis, but from the organization based. Like what does organization wants? It wants very few folks in the team who can do everything. So using Power Apps or Power Platform, Power BI, you can develop anything very quickly, very fast. The learning curve is also very less, and you don't need to buy any extra licenses for that. So you don't need to think from your way, you need to think on this way from your organization side. Like it can integrate with your Outlook or your Teams app, so it needs something it can integrate with your own data sources. And also the, like just I mentioned, the learning curve is very fast, so it is something that has got a very bright future. And you might see in near future everyone is going to talk about Power Platform for sure. So yeah, definitely bright future.
Okay. So then next question is by Akshat Arora. Please explain a bit about no code and low code.
Okay, so no code low code basically means, like just as you can see the demo, I had written very less code, so it is called as low code. That I don't need to write much code as I used to write in any traditional language such as Python or Java or .NET. Over there, needed to, even if I needed to write any CRUD sort of functionality, I needed. You must have read about, I think there were, I think, four commands which you needed to create. So you needed to write all the for each for all commands, connect to the data source, connect to JDBC driver. So that is pretty much hectic, and that takes a lot of time to learn, and the chances of error prone is very high. So over here you can see that it's a very low code environment, and sometimes you don't need to write any code. So this is what is meant by low code no code environment.
Okay. So the next question is by Neha Vijay. What is the
Mhm.
lookup column?
Okay, so lookup basically means that on the basis of that particular column we are going to insert. So if you are having some knowledge about database, there is something called as primary key. So, oh sorry, my network is not
Okay, there might be some glitch. Let's wait for Lakshit. Lakshit, can you hear me? So Lakshit will be joining in 2 minutes. There is some technical glitch. Yeah. So let's. I will continue in 2 minutes. Okay. By the time maybe I can share with you that how we are going to allow you to grab your vouchers and swags. So for that, we will be sharing a form with you all where you have to fill all your details, your email ID, your contact, your address, and the questions that we have asked according to this session. So that you have to fill. And tomorrow is a very important session. We will be asking you to post to make a post on LinkedIn about all 3 days session. How was your experience and what you gained from that session, and whether you have joined our Discord link or Discord channel or not of Azure Developer Community. So and also you have to add yourself with the Microsoft Azure skill in your LinkedIn profile and share your LinkedIn as well. So that will be a huge form which you have to fill and make a post on LinkedIn. So after that, we will be deciding who will be top 3 winners for vouchers and swags, and all other people who fill the form will be like top 30 will be receiving the vouchers, and after 30 like people will be receiving Microsoft certificate.
Neha, am I audible right now?
Yes, yes, you're audible.
Okay, like there were multiple questions. Sorry, let me take them up again.
Yeah. So the question is on the screen. What is lookup column? We were discussing that.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay. Let me just share my screen quickly. I think I've shared the wrong screen. Can you see my Excel file?
No, I guess your screen is I guess
Yeah.
something is coming. Yeah,
Is
I
it
can see that. Yeah.
okay? So we were discussing about the lookup column. So
Yeah.
if you have any knowledge or any idea about database, so over there you have a primary column. So whenever in database you are working, you need to update a particular column. So you always do that on the basis of primary column because that signifies that this is my unique row. So that is what we call as a primary column, or in Excel terms you can call that lookup as well, because on the basis of that column that will signify the uniqueness of that row and you can update that.
Okay.
Any more questions, Neha?
Yeah, there is another question
Hmm?
by Noob Gaming. Can we create multiple multi-page app as well? Like
Hmm?
you have, yeah.
Yeah, so like this app you can see it is also a multi-screen app. So over here you can see there were like multiple pages. So this is a separate page for edit page, or if you need to basically display all the records. So this was a multiple page based app. So you can add as many pages as you want. I mean, like pages over here are called as screens. So you can add any much screens as you want.
Okay. So the next question is by Rohit Gupta. What is the difference that comes to the apps created by Power App and not the basic way according to security? I guess they want to ask like maybe what is the difference in the security that you provide in Power Apps and as compared to the basic apps that we create using Android or HTML CSS.
Okay. So, when it comes to security bases, so first of all, whenever you're going to create a Power App, that is going to get hosted within your organization only. So, suppose you are working for Microsoft. So if you're going to create that Power App over here, so it's going to be visible within that firm. And also for security basis, like the maximum thing it can do is it is going to get hosted within your organization only. And over there as well, you can just signify that with which user you want to share this app. But in cases of like Android and then all, if you want to host it over the entire Play Store, then you need to buy some sort of licenses. But for that, I'm not pretty much sure what sort of things you need. But when it comes to security point for Power Apps, you can just host it within your organization, and that too you can specify to which particular user you want to share. So this comes under security.
Okay. So the next question is by Yash Bhardwaj.
Hmm?
How can error handling be implemented in Power Apps?
Okay, so let me show one error. How error comes over here. So if there is any error any code, you can see this cross icon. You can just click over here. You can just click on get help of that error, and you can see from here that okay, the function distinct has some invalid arguments on dropdown dot one dot items. So you can just go to the dropdown one dot items property, and over there you can debug the error. So this is how you can do error handling inside Power Apps. Are there any more questions now?
Yeah. So the next question is by Gaurav Patil. What are the limitations of Power Automate?
Power Automate. So I think this question would seem fine where we are going to deal about the next sessions for tomorrow. So I would really recommend him to join tomorrow's session, and from there we can pick up this question again.
Okay. So the next question is by Yash Bhardwaj. Why is the patch function used in Canvas app?
Why is the
Patch function used in Canvas app.
So basically, patch function is used to insert or update a record in a specific data source. So I could have used the patch function over here as well to insert or update the record, but since I use the forms, so in that case I need not to use the patch function, but patch function is used to basically insertion or updation of records inside any particular data source when we are not leveraging forms.
Okay. So the next question is by Mayur Krishna. What is the difference between is match, match, and match all functions in Power App?
Okay, so is match basically matches that like these are all validation functions. So like suppose you want to show that a particular text input should be coming in a specific way, like suppose you want to create any column for any email based. So over there you don't want to put any other thing apart from email. Like let me give another good example, like you are considering a column for phone number. So over there you cannot put string data type. So all these matching functions are used for matching the data type which you are putting inside your any control. And like ismatch will match the data type. Match will but just check, like ismatch is going to check on a base of a condition that if this thing matches this, then match. And match function will just match. Okay, if this thing is correct, then it will show. If it doesn't matches, it will not show. And what was the third function is sorry for match now. Can you please repeat now?
Yes, is match, match, and match all?
Okay, so within match all, it's basically a function where you will check multiple control inputs, and it is going to match one by one. If it matches true, then it's going to return as true statement, and if it doesn't match it, it is going to return as false. But the functionality of basically all the match functions are same. These are all validation functions.
Okay. So the next question is by Aditya Gheldial. How are we saving the data? Are we writing code for that?
Okay, so like when it comes to saving our data, this data is coming from the data source itself. So we are not saving any data inside Power Apps. This data is basically coming from a data source. It can be an Excel data source, and it can be any other data source. And what was the other part? Sorry, Neha, can you please repeat the question?
Are we writing code for saving the data? He's
Yeah,
asking that.
so over here you can see that I was writing very low code data. Like just as we discussed, it is a very low code or no code environment. So we were writing very less data. So yes, very like you can say low. We had written a low code.
Okay. So there is a request by Gaurav Patil, sir, please create real-time apps in Power Apps.
Hmm.
So I guess he can contact you through LinkedIn.
Hmm. Hmm, hmm.
And there is a question by Yash Bhardwaj. Can you add responsiveness to the Canvas app?
Okay. So yes. So right now it's not responsive. You can see. So basically, what does responsive means is like let me explain what does responsive means. Like if I'm going to decrease the size, so you can see it's not that responsive. Like if I'm going to decrease the size, so it's so does its size decrease also? No. You can see certain data was cut, like this screen was cut. So basically, responsive means is like whatever UI size of the screen we want, our elements are going to get adjusted for that. So by default, this functionality is not possible. But if you want to show responsiveness, so we can just go to the new screen tab, and over here there is an option. Uh, so there is a separate screen for maintaining. Yes, this is the screen header, footer, and main. So over here we need to put our elements very precisely. And if you're going to use this screen instead of blank screen, yes, we can create a responsive screen as well. But it will like demand a lot of effort. Not lot of, but some effort to create a responsive based app. But yes, that is something that is possible.
Okay. So
Are there any more questions now?
yeah, there are a few questions. There's a question by Yash Bhardwaj. What is the concept of delegation in Power Apps?
Okay. So what does delegation means is like by default you can just add like 5,000 row limit data over here. Like since I have taken very less data, so delegation issue will not come. But if suppose I'm having very huge data, like 1 lakh rows of data. So by default, Power Apps can load like 5,000 data. And if you're going to scroll apart from that, it will take some time because this is on cloud. So the data over here is loaded dynamically. So it's going to get loaded like line by line. And suppose you are going to filter on any data, like so let me give an example. Like I was searching on this drop down. So by default, it is going to search on those maximum 5,000 data instead of searching on 1 lakh rows of data. But in case you want to see the entire data, you need to use special function that suppose delegation. So yeah, I think maybe I'm not able to describe it in a particular way, but yeah, this is what delegation is. That by default only a limit of data can be searched, but if you're going to use delegation functions, you can search on n number of data. So yeah, this is what delegation is.
Okay. There is another question by Gaurav Patel. What is the
Mhm.
difference between Power Apps and Power Platform?
Like Power Platform is a platform which supports Power Apps. So like Power Platform has multiple platforms. Like one is Power BI, where like you just saw Power BI. Like in Power BI, you can create very beautiful graphs, visualizations, so that your data can be clean, trimmed accordingly, and shown in a graphical form. The other thing is Power Automate, which we are going to deal tomorrow. Over there, we are going to see flows which will automate our data. The third things come Power Virtual Agents, which is basically used to create chatbots, which you see on your websites. And the fourth one comes Power Apps, which you can create beautiful apps, which we I just discussed right now. So Power App is basically an element that is present within Power Platform. So Power Platform is a cloud technology which has multiple subtypes.
Okay. So the next question is by Gaurav Patil. I also want to do projects with the help of Power Apps, but I don't understand anything. I read Microsoft documentation, but still no idea. Then, what tips can you give me with what I can do, which I can do some good projects. So I guess he wants to do some good project, but he is not able to understand anything from Microsoft documentation and from
Okay.
himself, I guess.
Okay. Just give me a second. Let me post the URL from where he can read. Just give me a
Okay.
second. So where you can learn this from scratch. Let me open YouTube.
चलने से गेम समझ में आ सकता है।
So
Okay.
in this chat, I would recommend him to learn this Power Apps Canvas app step by step. So Dhruvin Shah has created a very beautiful series. From there, he can learn how to create a Canvas app, and this is how he would get ideas that how once he learns the basic elements, and after that he can leverage that one on his day-to-day projects.
Okay.
So yeah.
Yeah. So there is next question by Yash Bhardwaj. Is there any specific situation when
Hmm.
you can choose a model-driven app over Canvas app?
Yes. So it is chosen in those situations where your requirement is specific on data. Like what does model means? Like model driven app basically means model the data model. Like over here, our requirement was we needed to create a visualization, like a very beautiful UI. But in case our requirement is like there are multiple tables like person employee. Once we connect to that table automatically populates on a screen itself. So in those scenarios where your preference is not on your UI and it is more towards the data side, on those scenarios you will prefer model-driven apps over Canvas app. And also there is a second scenario that model-driven has a limitation that it can only connect to your Dataverse, which is a specific data source inside Power Platform. But the Canvas app can connect to any data source. So these are both the use cases of Canvas and model driven, and this is how you are going to choose which app you are going to choose over another.
Okay. So the last question for this session is by Yash Bhardwaj. What are the
Hmm.
advantage of Microsoft Power Apps over Android Studio? Like if anyone is working on Android Studio, then why you should switch to Microsoft Power App?
I think I've already catered this question, so let me reiterate. Like, if you're going to like, there are like Android is a different technology, Power Apps is a different technology. All have their advantages and disadvantages as well. But the advantage of Power Apps over Android is, first of all, that it is very easy to learn as compared to Android, where it takes a lot of time. Like if you're going to learn Android, it might take you 4 to 5 months or 6 months, but Power Apps you can learn in just 1 month. Also, you can get this platform for absolutely free. There is no cost involved if you have got the basic license for Office 365. I don't want to go deep inside license, but yes, if you are a native user inside your organization, you can basically access it for free. So yes, these are some of the advantages of Power Apps over Android.
Okay. So that was a great session, Lakshit. We have a session tomorrow on Power Automate, and as I mentioned, we will be sharing the last form where you can actually nominate yourself for vouchers and swags. So, guys, do join that session tomorrow at the same timing. So, yeah, thank you, Lakshit, for today's session. Have a good day,
Thanks,
everyone.
Mom. Thank
Yeah,
you so much. Thank you. Bye bye.
bye.